Hello, welcome to Late Night Creations. I'm Kendra and I'm really glad you're here. Today is the 5th of the month and guess what that means? It's the 5 Under 5 challenge where we create 5 items each under $5. So let's get started and you can see what all I created. I'll explain more about this challenge later in the video. For this first DIY, I took these wooden beads and I filled the holes with some spackling. I put a little dowel rod in there to take up most of the room, then I put some spackling in there and I sanded it down. I'm going to use these for the heads of my Mary and Joseph, and I used a smaller one for baby Jesus. And we're going to make a manger scene in one of those Dollar Tree shadow box houses. Now, I'm using this warm buff by, I believe it's Apple Barrel, and I'm just going to swirl them around in there to get the paint on there, and then take a paintbrush to kind of smooth it out, if you will. Then I'm going to take these Jenga blocks and tumbling tower blocks, the tumbling tower blocks that you get at Dollar Tree. I'm going to paint it white, all the sides, and I just used I cut it down a little bit. I cut these all to size. You do it however you want to. The Jenga blocks I bought at Five Below. I believe I got them at Five Below. I can't remember. And I cut Mary a little bit shorter just because, you know, I don't know. I think women are normally shorter than men. Not always. Not even typically anymore. I don't know. It just, in all of the scenes, it always depicts Mary a little bit shorter than Joseph. I used my little 2-inch mini miter saw that you see me use sometimes. You can use whatever you have at home to cut those down. And then I had this little star in my stash. I got a huge pack of them at Hobby Lobby years ago, and I've just been using them for projects for years. And so I'm going to use this little star and paint it yellow and put a little bit of gold on top of it. I didn't want it too shiny, but a little bit of shimmer is good. Now I have this wood grain look scrapbook paper that I got at Hobby Lobby. I'm just measuring the inside of this shadow box, and I'm going to make this my background. So I'm just cutting it to fit, and then we're going to glue it in after I paint the outside of the shadow box a little bit. I'm using the DIY wax, dark wax. Absolutely love this stuff. You can see that I've used quite a bit of it out of that little jar, and it goes a long way. So you know I've used a lot of it. I use it on a lot of projects. So I'm just kind of painting it on there, and then at the end, after I get it all painted on there, I do take a soft old white t-shirt. You see me use those a lot in my videos, and I just wipe off the excess. Most of it soaked into this wood because it's pretty porous, but I just wiped it off so there wasn't any excess, like it's a wax, you know, wipe on, wipe off. I did the inside, the outside, the edges, everything, so it looks like an old barn stable, which actually I've been to Bethlehem and I've seen the type of dwelling, animal dwelling that Jesus was born in. Not the exact one because they don't know for sure where exactly it was or if it's even still there. But I saw one that was like it, and it's not a barn at all. It's an underground, semi-underground cave-type dwelling, which was amazing. Then I took a little bit of that dark wax and just kind of dirtied up Mary and Joseph's clothes because I think their clothes would have been kind of old and tattered. I don't know why I think that, but, you know, I just like to use that dark wax, honestly. And so I'm just taking a little bit of that canvas drop cloth that I use all the time and giving baby Jesus some swaddling clothes or some swaddling cloths. I guess they weren't really clothes. It was just swaddling cloths. I'm going to glue that tiny little bead on his head, on there for his head. Then I'm going to glue Mary to Joseph just to keep them from sliding around. Giving it some security with that wood glue and the hot glue. Glue them together, and then I'm going to give Mary a head and Joseph a head. Just glue them right on top. It's kind of primitive and cute. I don't think I show me doing Joseph's head because it's kind of redundant. Then I took a little square of burlap, and I'm going to glue it, wrap it around them, and I'm just going to cut that bottom piece off. I'm going to glue baby Jesus in their arms. How cute is that? Oh my goodness. And then I'm going to glue them in the stable, in the barn, in the house, whatever you want to call it. I've done a similar craft with my Sunday school class without the barn, and they absolutely love it, and I plan to do something similar with them again this year. Then I thought it looked a little plain, so I just glued a little Spanish moss in there to pull it all together. This is going to go on the tier tray, and it looks so cute. This is the 5 Under 5 open playlist that Missy from Crafty Cove DIY and Emily from Farm Charm Chic do every month on the 5th. This month, the guest host is Sharon from Grace's Neighbor. Sharon, that's her channel, and they are the hosts this month. This month was Christmas or Winter Tiered Tray Decor. I'm going to link their channels in my description box, as well as the playlist with all the other amazing creators who joined this month. Okay, here's our next Christmas DIY. It's going to be a little garland. You know I love garlands and banners. It's actually a little garland banner. You know, it's miniature for our tier tray. So I'm just putting that, I believe it's that warm buff again. I'm just going to give it a little light coat, and then I'm going to take, I did it in warm buff, and then I'm taking, I think it's desert sand, and kind of distressing it a little bit, making it look that, you know, like it's got some texture to it. Then I took that chocolate sprinkle and just distressed around the edges. I mean, do whatever colors you like. I just used 3 colors of brown, 3 different colors of brown to make it look, you know, like it's just some old worn pieces of wood. And I think that they turned out pretty cute. And then I'm going to make some stencils on my Cricut. You could use stickers for this, whatever you want to use. I did the Peace on Earth, Goodwill to Men, because that's what the angels said to the shepherds in the fields as they were watching their sheep by night. And so I'm just going to show you one of each, not to make this video forever long. So put the stencil on, and I'm going to show you how I use Mod Podge to kind of seal that so we don't have any leakage. I just put a thin coat of Mod Podge all over that area, being sure I get it all over the edges so none of that paint, when I put it on, will seep under the edges of the stencil. You can do this with regular stencils as well. This works really good. I also use these little, I don't know where I got these little mini ones. They came in a pack, a variety pack, I think. And I just cut that pointy tip off to make a pouncer. And I'm just pouncing. I know it's hard to see what I'm doing because I'm going up and down, straight up and down, not sideways. I'm just doing the angel for you. And I'm using white chalk paint. And I'm just pouncing up and down, up and down, up and down until I get the entire thing filled. And then I'll look at it and make sure I didn't miss any spots. And then just peel away that stencil. And there was that tiny little piece between her halo and her head. Just took my tweezers and peeled that away. Now I'm going to just put a little color on these beads. So I sprayed a little water on them. And then I'm going to use this Antique Wax by Waverly. And I'm just putting enough in there to get it the color that I, you know, as much coverage as I want. And just stir them up, stir them up. Then I'm going to take them out and wipe off the excess. And if it's not as dark as I want it, then I just put them back in there or put a little more stain in there. Or the wax in there, I'm sorry. It makes it look like stain, so I'm saying stain. So I'm just going to take them out, and then I just laid them on a piece of that drop cloth to dry. Now I'm going to take some of this thinner twine that you get in the automotive department at Dollar Tree, and I'm going to make a little hanger for these tags, because if I hang them straight on the little banner, they're going to hang crooked. So I'm going to make these little, you know, hangers for the tags. And I'm just, now for this, with this thicker twine that I also got at Dollar Tree, I'm going to cut however much I want, however long I want my banner to be, and then I'm going to tie each one of these on there. But in between, I'm going to put my beads. So I'm going to tie a tag on there, and then I'm going to put a couple beads, and then tie a tag and put a couple beads. And I'm going to use some painter's tape on the end of that thicker twine to get it to go through those beads nice and smoothly. So I just leave it on there the whole time. And then I decided I wanted to use a little bit of that drop cloth and cut some little thin strips and make some little strips to hang down. But you'll see in the end that I didn't like the way that that looked. It didn't hang right. It was too thick. It was too long. I don't know. I just didn't like the way it looked. So you'll see that I changed that up. So I'm not going to show you this whole process, but you just get the hang of it, and you know, you're just going to make it your own anyway. So this is just for inspiration. So you can see I didn't like that, so I just decided to tie it in little knots, and I thought that was much cuter on this little tier tray because we want it to be small and, you know, not all taking up the whole space. So I did one on each end, and then I tied a knot on the end of that. Okay, I'll show you, I'll reveal that on the tier tray in the end. Now, I took these little bottle brushes that come several in a package. I think there's like 5 or 6 in a package at Dollar Tree. And then I got, I think all of this is Dollar Tree stuff. I got those little wood stumps at Dollar Tree, these beads. No, I got these beads on Amazon. I'm telling you a story. But they come a whole lot in a package. Most of the things that I get on Amazon, I will have linked in the description box. And you can go check them out and see if you want to get those. So I'm just dry brushing these with just a little bit of those same colors I've been using. I think it's Warm Buff and Desert Sand. And then I'm just going to glue. I thought I was going to use some wood glue and hot glue, but there wasn't enough space to do both of them. And I ended up doubling it over, and then, you know, it doesn't stick at all. The hot glue and the wood glue, if you overlap them, it's like oil and water. They don't work. So I think that the wood glue will hold this. I mean, the hot glue, excuse me. I think the hot glue will hold this just fine. I said wood glue because I'm wondering why I didn't move that wood glue out of my way. It's just hanging out there. Then I'm just going to put a little hot glue on that stem, and I think this is just the cutest little addition to a tier tray, this tiny little tree. And, you know, these little bottle brush trees are all the rage this year, especially stuck on some spindles or, you know, on a tree stump or a wood block. I've been seeing a lot of that this year, and I think that they just look great. I think this is so cute. Look how cute they look. And I think they just look cute in pairs as well. Now for the next DIY. This is so simple. Just a scrap block of wood that I had. I've had this in my stash for years. I had cut a bunch of them this size for a craft at Camp Gigi probably 3 years ago. And I've just had them in my stash. Been using them up. So here we go with this. I think this is the Desert Sand. I'm going to dry brush it. Not a whole lot. I don't want a whole lot on there, just around the edges, just to, you know, not make it so stark white. And then I did take my sanding block, probably in the 120 grit, and I don't know if I show you that on camera or not, but I just I'm going to say dirty up the white a little bit. Okay, so yeah, I sanded a little around the edges, and if you get a little too much of your distressing, that's a good way to remove some of it. I didn't get on camera showing you how I wrapped the twine around and put the bow on. I did not show you how I put the decal on. I guess I thought I hit record and I didn't, but you could use stickers, you could handwrite it. I think this is really good that the wise men still seek him, meaning we still seek Jesus. And there's that little banner on the tier tray. Okay, here's the last one. Last but not least, I found this little book stack at thrift store, I believe, or Goodwill. And it is definitely from the 90s. These are the colors that we all had in the 90s, if you're old enough. And so I just took them apart, and that tape was so sticky on there, I couldn't even get it off. So I just took them outside, and it was late at night, so I couldn't record out there at night. And I took them out on my craft cottage porch and sanded them with my orbital sander. It took me a few seconds, and now I'm using the Fawn by Waverly. I love this color. I love the coverage it gets, and I'm giving every inch of these little books a good coat of this, good solid coat. And then I'm going to take my white chalk paint. I use Rust-Oleum's white linen. I love it. I buy it off Amazon in the quart size, and then I just put it in this little jar so it doesn't dry out as fast. And then I showed you that I'm leaving the page part in that color, and then I'm taking my chocolate sprinkle and going to wherever the book would be worn, I'm going to just darken it up a little bit, and I'm going to put it on the pages part a little bit too. So that's what they look like. Then I'm just going to take a Sharpie. I was going to use my paint marker, but you can see where I'm writing the letters. It was too fat, was too thick. So I'm just going to handwrite Peace on Earth on this little book stack. Don't always have to use your Cricut. Don't always have to use stickers. Just take your time. This is in doubled up speed. I took my time and I just wrote Peace on Earth. Here's some more of that canvas drop cloth. I'm telling you, I use it all the time. It's such a good buy. Go ahead and spend the $20 or whatever it is. You get a big, huge sheet of it, and you can just use it and use it and use it. I'm going to hot glue these books together so they don't go anywhere. And it's really lightweight. Pine. It smelled like pine when I was sanding it. And then I'm just going to tie that, not even in a double knot because I don't want it to be super bulky right there. So I'm just going to hot glue it down. This canvas drop cloth is so nice to work with too. I'm going to take two little scraps that I pulled off of something else, probably came from Dollar Tree. Glue a couple little pine cones that I got these little packs of pine cones at Dollar Tree. These little red berries came off of some picks I got at Dollar Tree. I'm just going to stick a couple little ones, just, you know, cutting a couple little ones off, gluing them where the white styrofoam doesn't show, and there you go. It's all done. I think it's so cute. I love it. So here's the finished tier tray. Let me know if you have a favorite piece. Thanks so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed these tier tray Christmas decor pieces. Like, everything small is cute, right? And remember to be still and know that He is God.